Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations, Kahalal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Barakatham, to the hopeful elect, all across the four winds. This is a Yahoo News article. U.S. court rejects atheist appeal over In God We Trust on money. Now, the thing is, these fucking devils, man. Hey, man, these devils, these devils are like, they're like small children. You know, we got safe spaces, trigger words, you know, all sorts of shit. And this is our issue. And when I say this is our issue, this is the hopeful elect's issue. Because let me tell you, when they put In God We Trust on the money, they're not talking about the actual, like, power. You know, they're not talking about Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. They're not talking about him. I don't know what they're talking about. But just the fact that, just the fact that they want to take the name off the money, man, it's kind of like, why add insult to injury, my dude? And it says, Routers, a federal appeals court on Tuesday said printing In God We Trust on U.S. currency is constitutional, citing its long-standing use and saying it was not coercive. So ultimately, basically, the Most High put the spirits on the appeals court in order to push this along. Because one thing you're not finna do is take that off of the money, man. The idea is that once they switch to a digital currency, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Once they try to switch to the chip, the FRID microchip, aka the mark of the beast, once they try to switch to that, all these banknotes are gonna be just useless. You know what I mean? And essentially, you know, what would happen is, let's say that they were to take In God We Trust off the money, right? That would obviously devalue the currency because the ones that were being printed that didn't have In God We Trust, everybody would be trying to get those dollars, you know, trading them in and whatnot. And it would just be a big fucking fiasco. So they really should have understood that this shit wasn't going down from the get-go. And it says the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in St. Paul, Minnesota, rejected claims by 29 atheists, children of atheists, and atheist groups that inscribing the national motto on bills and coins violated their First Amendment free speech and religious rights. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you something. All that shit wasn't for you. You fucking devils. You know, your First Amendment right to free speech, that don't mean you can go talking out the side of your neck, talking about you going to take In God We Trust off the money. Now, granted, like I said, they don't, most of them don't believe in God. You know what I mean? And a lot of the founding fathers, they didn't believe in God. You know what I'm saying? They may have said, oh, we believe in God. But they had slaves. They had a bunch of land. You know, and they would use the Bible to justify slavery. Which, of course, you know, here at Great Millstone, we know that very well. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for slavery of the Edomite and the heathen. That's, you know, and that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between just a regular Johnny come lately guy and somebody who's really, you know what I'm saying, in the truth. If you want to save the so-called white man from his destruction, then this shit is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. If you over here trying to save the so-called white man, this shit is not for you. If you over here trying to save Moab, this shit is not for you. Elam, Ishmael, you out here trying to save everybody, man. And these same people, right, trying to save everybody, oh, we need to coexist. Man, fuck coexisting. Every time I see a coexist sticker on the back of somebody's car, I want to peel that motherfucker off, man. Because there's no way for us to coexist. These 29 atheists, man, they're not going to stop. Okay? Because these are not just regular 29 motherfuckers who work at a burger stand. No, these are 29 people with pool. Because if they're saying 29 atheists, children of atheists, and atheist group, well, if you talking about the lineage, you talking about the lineage of the atheists. Like, these are children of the atheists. So these are high-standing people, whether that's in Minnesota or wherever. But these 29 people got pool, man. Now, obviously, they don't have enough pool to trump Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Because the Lord understand. One of the biggest reasons why we know that there is a God that exists is simply because of feats like this. Do you really think that that the so-called white man wants to put in God we trust all the money? Of course not. He would love to take it off. But ultimately, the Most High puts the spirit on these people to keep it on the money. Just like the Most High keeps the spirit on these people to keep the Bible around. If it was up to the so-called white man, the so-called white man would round up every single Bible and these heathens too. Let me not forget them. Okay? Hell, and these 2/3. Okay? These 2/3 Israelites. If these 2/3 Israelites, heathens, and so-called white people had the opportunity, they would take every single King James version of the Bible. They round all the Bibles up and they would burn them, man. But ultimately, the Spirit of the Most High is put on these people to keep this Bible around. You understand? So ultimately, this is the Most High's court system. You know? While other courts have allowed the motto's use on currency, Circuit Judge Raymond Grunder said it also did not constitute an establishment of religion under a 2014 Supreme Court decision requiring a review of historical practices. Oh, Salakia, brothers. I just I knocked over my drink, so I'm going to just pause it real quick. I'm going to get right back to it. All right, we back in this thing. Grunder said the Constitution lets the government celebrate our tradition of religious freedom and that putting the motto on currency comports with early understandings of the Establishment Clause without compelling religious observance. So basically, Grunder is saying that when Grunder says the Constitution, he might as well be talking about the Most High, because the Most High is the real Constitution. Okay, and those commandments are the real Constitution. You know, fuck all this new shit. We're talking about the old laws, man, because them old laws, okay, are still in effect. That's the real Constitution, man. Not this bullshit. But he's right when it says our tradition of religious freedom. Because I'll give it to him. I'll give it to the so-called white man. He has always said that you can practice whatever religion you want to, and that's philosophy of fools and demons ultimately. You know, because the so-called white man telling you can be what you want to be. You know what I'm saying? That's that Babylonian wine. You know what I'm saying? And that's strong drink right there. You start to drink the white man's so-called white man's philosophies, and your ass is done for. You know what I mean? Like it's a real understanding to be had with these people, man. If they could, they would take In God We Trust right off this damn money, man. And then look, this is gonna show how they did it, or this is what they're gonna show when it started popping up. It reads, In God We Trust began appearing on U.S. coins in 1864 during the Civil War, a period of increased religious sentiment, and was added to paper currencies by the mid-1960s. Now, in the mid-1960s, 70s, whatever, this is initially when you started to hear about Israel, you know, through the elder Albert Bivens, you know what I mean? And he was hitting the highways and the byways, you know what I'm saying, in the late 60s. You know, so all the brothers struggling constantly every day. It was a lot of brothers, you know, like the elder, who was out there in the late 60s. So you can only imagine, you know, what he was going through. Can you only imagine preaching the word of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, you know, in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? So these people that have laid the foundation for us, man, we truly have to give honor to them. You know what I mean? Because these people, the reason why we're even able to keep the "In God We Trust" on the money ultimately is because of these people. Because if it wasn't for the elder speaking that truth on the highways and byways, hell, the Most High maybe could have had it in the mid late 60s. He probably could have had it to where they take it off. You know, so it gets that deep. And it says President Dwight Eisenhower signed a law making the phrase the national motto in 1956. Tuesday's 3-0 decision upheld a 2016 lower court ruling, though one judge refused to join part of its analysis. And I'm guessing that one judge, all right, was paid off not to say shit. Because let me tell you something. You start fucking with the so-called white man money, and he gonna get in that ass. And you're gonna see how quick he can get in that ass. You start messing with his money. Because the reason why the decision was 3-0, ain't nobody trying to go up against the Treasury, the Federal Reserve. You know what I'm saying? They're talking because to remove that "In God We Trust" from the currency, man, that would ultimately set a ripple effect throughout the stock market. Oh man, let me just finish reading this. Michael Newdow, a lawyer for the plaintiffs, in an email called it utterly revolting that the history of governmental denigration of a suspect class should trump the principle that neutrality be the touchstone for analyzing claims under the First Amendment's Establishment Clause. And him ultimately saying that it's utterly revolting to put the name "In God We Trust" on the money. Man, fuck you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's motherfuckers like you that is bringing upon the plagues, man. You bringing upon pestilences, Mr. Newdow. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, by you coming up, if you trying to take "In God We Trust" off the money, ultimately you coming up against the Most High, and that's not finna fly, man. That's not finna fly. It says Newdow is also known for unsuccessful litigation challenging the inclusion of "under God" in the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance. So this devil's this devil's been at it. When I was a kid, and growing up in Florida, this place is very big on conditioning, man. This is one of the biggest places to get conditioned into the Babylonian Empire, because all across America, right? When you was in elementary school, you would constantly go over the Pledge of Allegiance. You would go over the Star Spangled Banner. You would have to recite it in music class. All sorts of things, Slack you. But now, shit, they like, look, you don't have to do it. You don't have to this and that. And I'm not the type of person who's going to say, oh, you got to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Man, fuck the Pledge of Allegiance. The only allegiance that I have to is Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. That's it. That's the only person I'm pledging to. All right? That's it. When they say put your hand over your heart, don't that look awfully like the Israelite salute? And that's what, and everybody copied that off the Hebrews. The original Israelites, man, that was their salutation. You would take your fist, you would put it in a ball, and your right hand, and you would put it over your chest. This is a sealing, or Salakia. This is a semblance of a semblance of it's almost like solid. In the 70s, they used to put their right fist up and they would go solid. You feel me? So it's like it's a salute. You know what I mean? And it's very important, man. So brothers, man, you need to understand, man, who you pledge your allegiance to. Are you pledging allegiance to the so-called white man? Or are you pledging allegiance to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai? Because you could be like this guy, New Dow, and try to come up, man. But you ain't doing shit, man. New Dow ain't doing shit. He's not taking off anything from any song, man. Because the Most High has it that way. You know, even if you think about it, right? Ever since they started making you do the Pledge of Allegiance, when I was in school, the black people would always do a special one, okay? And I'm gonna end the video after this, but it would be a special one. You know, we would how did it go? You know, I don't know. I can't remember how it even goes. But here's how we would end it. You know, that they would say, and liberty and justice for all. But when I was in school, whenever we would say it, I would always say, and liberty and justice. I wouldn't say for all, because there was no liberty and justice for all of us. Because, I mean, obviously, you know, Israelites constantly catching hell. And at that point in time, obviously, I didn't know about I didn't know about Israel or nothing like that in elementary school. But even then, I was like, fuck you crackers, man. Because it ain't no justice for all. If it was justice for all, obviously, you know, we wouldn't be the tail, and you wouldn't be the head, man. Let me see here. So I just typed in snares. Let's see if we can. And it was one of these specifically I was looking for, but I could just read it. Let me see. Why I like this one. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken from her. Right? How can you be taken from her? Because, and we're basing this off of the money. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we're going to base this off of. Look, man, all you brothers out here, you constantly trying to fight your woman financially, you know, cause she think this money is play, you know. She think this money is a game, man. But this money is a hot topic, and the reason why this money is a hot topic, man, is because they finna get rid of cash very soon. They're getting rid of cash very soon, man. So all you boneheaded ass Negroes talking about get your paper up, that paper ain't finna be worth shit, man. This is Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 26. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap, they catch men. So he said among my people. So Israel, a lot of you niggas, man, you like to rob drug dealers. You know, you like to rob, you like to sit, wait. Oh, when this nigga get home. You know what I'm saying? You set up traps. A lot of you niggas get your women to set up traps, trick niggas, you know, and they catch men. You know? And it all goes back to that money. You know? This is Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 22. Let a cry be heard from their houses, when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. For they have digged a pit to take me, and his snares for my feet. All right? So he's saying, let a cry be heard from their houses. So the enemies, you know what I'm saying? When thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. And what is that troop? Man, that troop, obviously, it's some Israelites ready to get busy. For they have digged a pit to take me. So how do they dig a pit to take you, man? They dig a pit. They probably physically dug a pit in order to throw Jeremiah in there. And Jeremiah really is a testament of every Israelite, man. And hid snares from my feet. So this, obviously, a lot of these things, they have two meanings. Now, they could literally dig a pit, but they could also dig a pit as in like spiritually, lying in wait for you to fall in, much like with loans. Because a lot of these so-called white men, they give out loans to people that know they can't pay the shit back, and you fall in it. So snares, man, snares can be physical, they can be spiritual. For example, this is Proverbs chapter 13, verse 14. The law of the wise is a fountain of life. And what is the law of the wise? Those laws, statutes, and commandments, all 316 of them. And it says, to depart from the snares of death. And how do you get out of the snares of death? By following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And you'll depart from the snares that were set up for you. This is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 27. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. And that's basically reiterating the same thing. Is that the fear, which is the beginning of the knowledge, is a fountain of life. And that fountain is that living water. You know what I mean? That's quenching you. This is Psalms chapter 141 and 9. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, in the gins of the workers of iniquity. And who are the workers of iniquity? So-called white men. And when I hear the word gins, for some reason I think of like a warehouse. I don't really know what a gin is, but that's kind of what I'm gonna suspect. The building. So basically, in the gins, kind of like a distillery. This is where they have their strong drink. So really, that's like a church house. You could attribute that to a church house, because the gins of iniquity are a lot of these church houses, because you go in there and they gonna give you some strong, man. I tell you what, boy. Growing up in the South, I'm gonna tell you something. All across America, you may get a little wine that you don't like too much. You may get some off philosophy, but you come down here, and I'm telling you, you gonna get strong drink. They gonna tell you all sorts of shit. I've heard it all, man. I've heard it all in the church house. Man, they used to say that the devil was rebelling against God, and that the devil fought against God, and that Mary had a baby with God, and Moses was a white man, and I mean all sorts of madness, man. And those were the workers of iniquity, because ultimately the so-called white man owns all these black churches. The land that these black churches are on is ultimately owned by the so-called white man. These grants, these 501c3 charters, in order to not get taxed, ultimately that comes from the United States and the so-called white man, who are one and the same. All right, that's it. So Patty Mae up at the church house, she raising up money to get new pews. The money is already there. So-called white man already put the money on the books. Okay? It's just how much money can they get out of you? So watch out for the gins of the workers of iniquity. So watch out for them buildings that hold all them strong philosophies. Salakia. This is Psalms chapter 64, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? And if that ain't the so-called white man, I don't know who. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the so-called white man in a nutshell. Because when you look at it, what does the so-called white man say every time they do some shit? They're like, oh, who's going to find out? Who's going to see? And that's what a lot of these elites do, because they encourage themselves in an evil manner by buying and investing into each other's companies. all right, by hiding each other's dirt, letting each other borrow each other's lawyers. That's encouraging themselves in an evil manner. And they commune of laying snares. So basically they're in private, they're setting up all sorts of things. Planned Parenthood, food stamps. All that shit initially was set up in private. It was set up in secret and in quiet. And once it was revealed that this is what was happening, it was too far along. You know what I'm saying? So they like to, that's the thing about the so-called white man. Whenever he lays snares, he lays them in secret. And they also say, who shall see them? And that's what they always say. And the Most High sees you niggas, man. Because quite honestly, man, the men of the Lord are getting sick and tired of you so-called white people. Goddamn devils, man. You're the devil that the Bible speaks of. This is Psalms chapter 38, verse 12. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me. And they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. And what does that sound like? You motherfucking scoffers, man. You scoffers love talking shit. They seek after your life and they lay snares for you. And how do they do that? They ask you questions that they already know the answer to. Like the whole rape doctrine. We are fucking over that, man. Like, why are you niggas still caught up on that? It's already been debunked. It's already been figured out, broken down, and explained. Let's move on. But they constantly try to lay that snare in order to make it look like, you know what I'm saying? Like you out here doing people wrong. It ain't nobody out here, you know what I'm saying, doing all that. It's just y'all are laying these snares. All right? And it says, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things. Such as, he hates everybody. Oh, he's a false teacher. All because we calling out the so-called white man for being the devil that the Bible speaks of. Y'all stay wanting to defend the so-called white man. If a nigga walk into the store, he steal a bag of chips and he gets shot. What does everybody say? Oh, nigga should have been stealing. So-called homeless white man come in, steal the same chips. If the store owner as much as yell at him, everybody gonna get on the comment board. Oh, he having a hard time. Hey man, these goddamn white people make me sick, man. They make me sick, and they know what the fuck they doing because I give it to them. They protect their own, you know. So-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, we hate defending our own. Whenever we see some shit, we just turn the other way. You know what I'm saying? It don't even matter to us. And that's part of the reason why the so-called white man ultimately is wiser than you boneheaded Negroes, because he understands family. He understands he understands how the legitimacy of birth and the birthright. He understands all that shit, man. Because if a super rich so-called white man has a company and he has a daughter and he has a son, what does he always do? He always gives the company to the son. It doesn't matter if the daughter is nicer, more well-rounded, went to a better school. No, he knows that he's supposed to give it to his son, you know? So they're wise, man. They're wise. Another thing about the so-called white man, he understands that you are what your father is. That's why a lot of times so-called white man asks you, so what is your father? He don't ask you what your mother is. He asks you, well, you know, was your dad in the military? Was your, this and that? Oh, your dad must play football. He must have played basketball. See, they want to know. They want to know what tribe you come from, man. This for you niggas, man. This is Psalms chapter 11, verse 6. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. So all you niggas out here scoffing, you boneheaded ass niggas, okay? All y'all are finna have fire and brimstone rain upon you through them nuclear missiles. And it's gonna rain snares too. It's gonna rain all sorts of shit. It's gonna rain problems. You know what I mean? Big problems, man. This is gonna be your portion. Cause man, that's one of the biggest reasons why I want out of this goddamn place, man. I'm getting tired of seeing you 2/3 vibe with Esau and vibe with the heathens, man. How How, after all this shit we have seen over the years, y'all still siding with this devil? You women, you Israelite women, you still siding with this devil? You still having this devil's kids? Yeah, hey man, and that'll be your portion, man. This is the last one. This is Joshua chapter 23, verse 13. Know for a certainty that the Lord, your power, will no more drive you out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, right? Through their philosophies and through their way of living. Because all over the world, no matter where you go, them motherfuckers ain't living right. So when the elect were scattered into all those nations, a lot of them were, so the ones that were taken to Greece, they were Hellenized. They were shaving their heads, eating, shrimp, crab, and all sorts of things. The Israelites that were sent, to India, they started eating, snails and shit. Whatever the case is, the Israelites that were out in London, they started, they started becoming Muslims. Whatever the case is, man. When you were taken out into these nations, there were snares and there were traps put upon you for a certain reason, man. And it says, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land, which the Lord your God hath given you. Right? So basically the Lord is causing all this. Because the Lord is both good and evil. It's a perfect balance. And that's what makes him perfect, because he's not a liar. Period. And let me get this Apocrypha right here. Let me just get this Apocrypha real quick and get a couple precepts. This is great. This is going to be a great ending point. This is the book of Second Esdres, chapter 8, verse 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. Right? So he made the world for a lot of you boneheaded ass niggas who are not receiving this word, this truth. He made the world for a lot of you so-called white people, but the world that's to come is for few. And he's talking about the hopeful elect, these men that are pushing out this vibration of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? Trying to follow the laws to the best of your ability. He's saving the world to come for us. Because when he comes back, Yahweh Shai with the innumerable amount of angels, he'll be bringing the kingdom with him. Ultimately, and it'll be established righteously on this earth. And continuing, verse 2. I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much mold whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of this present world. In this present world right now, it's the same thing. Yes, there's gonna be like it says, that it giveth much mold whereof earthen vessels are made, right? And who are the earthen vessels? Those are regular people, right? Those are vessels with a hole at the bottom, aka you 2/3, aka the so-called white man and these heathens. Y'all are earthen vessels. But it says, but little dust that gold cometh of, even is the course of this present world. But you see, we were made from the dust of the ground. Israel, not you so-called white people. You know what I'm saying? But Israel. We're made from the dust. That gold cometh of. Because we're the golden children. We're the golden child. You know what I'm saying? Israel, that's it. And even so is the course of this present world. So that's how it is right now. The Lord is setting up a grand, immaculate stage for us, man. He's setting up things right now as we speak in the heavens. They're proclaiming and they're projecting, okay, a certain image. And that image that's being projected is going to manifest itself here on this earth, man. And Kwam Yashar Wahamashek Yahawashai for that. You know? In all seriousness. Because it's really it's coming, man. This is verse 3. There be many created, but few shall be saved, right? So all you motherfuckers who think just because you born and that you gonna get the promise, you ass out. This is verse 4. So answered I and said, swallow them down, O my soul, understanding and devour wisdom. So eat that roll, eat that bread, continue to read that Apocrypha, continue to read that King James version of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? This is verse 5. For thou hast agreed to give ear, and art willing to prophecy, for thou hast no longer space than only to live. So the Lord is only giving you enough time to get this vibration out. That's why ultimately, if you're not pushing the vibration of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, he's going to kill you. That's why we say that we're slaves to this. We are servants to this, because we know if we don't, it's kind of like a quota, man. When you were a slave in the fields, if you didn't pick enough cotton, you got a warning. The second time, you got a beating. That third time, if you didn't pick that cotton to a certain extent, they would kill your ass. Because you're not meeting the quota. You're not being a productive slave. And that's much like how the Most High sees us. You're not being a productive servant by making these videos, breaking down your precepts, following your laws. So he's going to do away with you. Ultimately, he might put you in a car crash. He might give you a disease. You know what I mean? He might get hell, you know, and this is a dishonorable death, but you could get mauled to death by a pack of dogs. All sorts of shit, man. You don't know what could happen. You really don't. So in all seriousness, for thou hast no longer space than only to live. And only to live for who? For Hamashiach Yahushai. That's it. That's all you have space for to live in this life. You don't have space to go out and be in the world, then come to the truth, be back in the world. Nah, man, you ain't got time for that. You don't have no time for that, man. You got enough time to push out the vibration of Yahushua HaMashiach, and that's it. This is verse 6. O Lord, if thou suffer not thy servant, that we may pray before thee, and thou give us seed unto our heart, and culture to our understanding, that there may come fruit of it. How shall each man live that is corrupt, who beareth the place of a man? For thou art alone, and we all one workmanship of thine hands, like as thou said. So that workmanship of thine hands, that workmanship is the brotherhood. You know what I mean? Which is the brothers. All 12 tribes of Israel come together. And I'll end it on this one. This is verse 8, the final verse I'm going to read. For when the body is fashioned now in the mother's womb, and thou givest it members, thy creature is preserved in fire and water. And 9 months doth thy workmanship endure thy creature which is created in her. But that which keepeth and is kept shall both be preserved. And when the time cometh, the womb preserved delivereth up the things that grew in it. So basically, we're like a child in the womb. And basically, we're getting ready for delivery. You know what I'm saying? Our heart has been developed, our brain, our muscles, our neurons, our atoms, everything has been configured properly. And now the Most High, and I hate to laugh about this, but the Most High is getting the delivery room ready. You understand? We're about to come out of that womb, Israel. You know what I'm saying? And once we come out into this world, that world is gonna already be set up for us, much like the kings. You know, prior to a king being born, they would set up everything. Everything would be set up so that when the child was born, everything's taken care of. And that's much like how the Lord is doing us, and that's what He's explaining in these parables. In second Esdres right here, he's saying that we're like a child whose arms are being molded, our head is being shaped. because ultimately we are the hands that do the work. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, we are this small child in the womb, man. So, and how is Adam supposed to work if they're not working in sync? When atoms don't work in sync, they call it cancer. All cancer is a multiplication of cells in an odd fashion. That's all it is, which is going to give you a tumor or whatever you may have. So basically, the Lord is configuring us perfect. Israel itself ultimately is going to be perfect. Is going to be perfect because of the elect. So ultimately, the Lord is getting ready to produce a perfect child in us, in Israel. You know what I'm saying? We are all likened to this child in the womb. And I got to get a couple more just to just to finish this up. For thou hast commanded out of the parts of the body, that is to say, out of the breasts. All right. And who are the breasts? The breasts of the elders, right? Because they give the milk. And it says milk to be given, which is the fruit of the breast. And who are the fruit of the breast? When the elders get to speaking on the highways and byways, the people that come into this truth, that's the fruit. So ultimately, the apostles of Great Millstone, the elders of Great Millstone, all the way down to the Akim and the confusion of face Akim, those are the fruit that is receiving the milk from the breast. So ultimately, your elders are the breasts. And that's not to call your elders titties, but these are all analogies. And it says that the thing which is fashioned may be nourished for a time, till thou deposest it to thy mercy. And what's the mercy? The mercy is getting all those promises and everything that was promised to us. So we're going to be nurtured for a time. We're going to come up on this milk. We're going to come up on this truth for such a time, and then the Lord is going to come back. It says, thou broughtest it up with thy righteousness and nurtured it in thy law. And what is the law? The law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And it says, and reformest it with thy judgment. And that's that being tried by fire. That's when the Lord being reformed with thy judgment. That's when the Lord fucks you up. When you're not doing right, you may be going off, and the Lord kind of, he kind of tweaks you up. Kind of punches you in the chest a couple times to get your shit straight. And it says, and thou shalt mortify it as thy creature, and quicken it as thy work. If therefore thou shalt destroy him which so great labor was fashioned, it is an easy thing to be ordained by the commandment, that the thing which we made might be preserved. And who's going to be preserved? Israel. Now therefore, Lord, I will speak. Touching man in general, thou knowest best, but touching thy people, for whose sake I am sorry. So he's saying that he's sorry for what his people have done, not for people in general. And it says, and for thine inheritance, for whose cause I mourn. So this is the whole reason why he wrote the book of Esdres. It's for the inheritance of Israel. And it says, for whose cause I mourn, and for Israel, for whom I am heavy in heart, and heavy in sorrow, and for Jacob, for whose sake I am troubled. Therefore will I begin to pray before thee for myself and for them. For I see the falls of us that dwell in the land. So when he was having visions of Babylon, he was having visions of America falling. And that's why he says, for I see the falls of us that dwell in the land. So the Lord put the spirit on Esdras to see the end of the so-called world, to see the end of the so-called white man's world. And that's why he was so sad. Because he knew that some of his people were finna die. That's why he said that basically Jacob's trouble. That's why he's troubled, because of what Jacob is going through. And it says, and Jacob ultimately is Israel, the 12 tribes. And this is verse 19. Therefore hear my voice and understand my words, and I shall speak before thee. This is the beginning of the words of Esdras before he was taken up. And I said, O Lord, thou that dwellest in everlastingness, which beholdest from above things in the heaven and in the air, whose throne is inestimable. So you can't estimate the Lord's power. And it says, whose glory may not be comprehended, before whom the hosts of the angels stand with trembling. Right? Because he's over those angels. Both the left side angels, the demons, and the right side angels. They both serve him with fear. Everybody fears Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Even the trees fear Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, man. Verse 22, whose service is conversant in wind and fire, whose word is true, its sayings constant, right? So they never change. Whose commandment is strong, and ordinance fearful, whose look drieth up the depths, and indignation maketh the mountains to melt away, which the truth witnesseth, right? So the truth, right, is witnessing those mountains, aka those 2/3, melt away. So when them 2/3 niggas die, the truth witnesses it. So who's the truth, right? The truth is Israel, those elect men who are gonna witness, because ultimately the hopeful elect are the witnesses to the end of this shit, man. And it says, "Oh, hear the prayer of thy servant, and give ear to the petition of thy creature." And who's thy creature? You know, us, Israel. He's created us. When you hear creature, it's not like monster, it's creature. For while I live, I will speak, and so long as I have understanding, I will answer. And that is a testament to all you Israelites, man. As long as you have a mouth to speak, you need to be on the vibration of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And as long as you have the understanding that the Most High is giving you, you need to answer all the questions that are asked of you, man. And it says, "Oh, look not upon the sins of thy people, but on them which serve thee in truth." Right? So it says, don't look at the 2/3, look at the hopeful elect. And it says, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, right? Like the gun, okay, amongst other things, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions. And why are we being afflicted? Because we have to follow these laws, right? And it's afflicting us. Like the fact that they put pork in everything, man. It's an affliction because I can't even go to the store and buy some shit without having to check if it got, pork in it. And it could be something simple, like some cheese crackers, and they may put little bacon bits in it. It's like, God damn, I can't even eat something without being afflicted. And it says, think not upon those that have walked faintly before thee, but remember them which according to thy will have known thy fear. So don't think about the people who've kind of gave you smooth words, such as these pastors, faintly before you. But remember those that live according to fear, the fear of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. This is verse 29. Let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts. So those are those spiritual Gentiles, aka those Israelites who are living like beasts and they have no idea. So they're eating the pork, they're eating the shrimp, the crab, they're shaving, they're living like a beast. But don't destroy them. You know what I'm saying? You want to try to bring them towards the light. You know what I'm saying? And it reads, but to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law. All right? So those are the hopeful elect, the people that are teaching the law. Take thou no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that always put their trust in thy righteousness and thy glory. For we and our fathers do languish of such diseases, but because of us sinners thou shalt be called merciful. For if thou hast a desire to have mercy upon us, thou shalt be called merciful to us, namely. So he said to us, namely, like only Israel, that have no works of righteousness. For the just, which have many good works laid up with thee, shall out of their own deeds receive reward. And how do you receive reward? By continuing in this faith, in this truth. All right, this is verse 34. For what is man that thou shouldest take displeasure at him? Or what is a corruptible generation that thou shouldest be so bitter towards it? So Basically, even if you're dealing with boneheaded niggas, right? A corruptible generation, you don't need to be bitter towards them. You need to try to bring them up, you know? And it says, verse 35, for in truth, there is no man among them that be born. So no man is truthful. But he hath dealt wickedly. And among the faithful, there is none which have not done amiss. So out of all the hopeful elect, we've all sinned. For this, O Lord, thy righteousness and thy goodness shall be declared. If thou be merciful unto them which have not the confidence of good works. All right? So these are the people who are, they have questions. You know, they don't really have the confidence of good works yet. So you're building them up. This is verse 37. Then answered he me and said, some things hast thou spoken aright, and according unto thy words it shall be. Right? And that's prophecy. For indeed I will not think on the disposition of them which have sinned before death, before judgment, before destruction. But I will rejoice over the disposition of the righteous, which is the hopeful elect, and I will remember also their pilgrimage, and their pilgrimage is reaching these people, and the salvation and the reward that they shall have. Like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. So that's prophecy. This is going to happen. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground, and planteth many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root. So basically, what the Lord is saying, just because I made billions of Israelites, that doesn't mean that all of y'all are finna come up in the spirit. 2/3 of our people must be destroyed. That's what he's telling us. It says the husbandman soweth much seed into the ground. So when the Most High made all of us, he made a lot of us, and he planted many trees. So he brought a lot of us up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us live to be 50, 60, 70, 80, right? And it says, and yet the thing is sown good in his season cometh not up. Neither doth all that is planted take root. So not all of us are going to get this thing. If you can understand the words that are in the Bible, you have a gift. Because not all of us have that, man. It says, even so is it of them that are sown in the world, and they shall not be saved. And that's talking about the 2/3. 66.6% of Israel has to be destroyed, man. It says, like as the husbandman's seed perisheth, if it come not up, and receive not thy rain in due season. And what's that rain? That rain is that living water in due season. That rain is that philosophy of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and that rain is gonna make you, as a seed, it's gonna make you grow up into a tree. You understand? Or if there come too much rain and corrupt it. So if you have too much, you know what I'm saying, it can corrupt you. You know? So not too much of the Holy Spirit, but of the rain. If you're going overboard, you know, and salute to Adam Abbat, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of what happened to him. You know, that's why he's going off about the Sabbath. He claims that the Sabbath is every Saturday, when actually it's all based upon the moon. You see, he got too much rain. He got too much water, and he didn't know what to do with it. All right? But in salute to my brother, you know what I'm saying? I have full respect for Adam Abbat. You know what I'm saying? All his brothers out there in Baltimore, man, they're doing the Lord's work. It's just he has too much water. You know what I mean? So sometimes, like when a plant has too much water, a lot of times you got to drain it. You know, so maybe if he could just drain his vessel a little bit, he'll be good, man. It says, even so perisheth man also, which is formed with thy hands, and is called thine own image, right? Which is the image of the Most High, because the hopeful elect, right? We appear to look like him, because thou art like unto him, in whose sake thou hast made all things, and liken him unto the husbandman's seed, right? And who's the husbandman's seed? Isaac, Jacob, you know, because that's where his seed was called. If you remember, Isaac's seed was called ultimately through Jacob. Be not wroth with us, But spare thy people, and have mercy upon thine own inheritance, for thou art merciful unto thy creature. Right? So as much as you can, try to bring an Israelite towards the truth. Then answered he me and said, things present are for the present, and things to come for such as be to come. So that's prophecy also. For thou comest far short, that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than I. But I have oft times drawn nigh unto thee, and unto it, but never to the unrighteous. So he never dealt with the 2/3. And this also thou art marvelous before the Most High, in that thou hast humbled thyself, as it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous. So when you keep a humble approach, that's why we say the hopeful elect, because we want to be worthy. You know what I'm saying? And we want to be glorified among the righteous. It says, for many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world. So that's the time of Jacob's trouble. You know, you may get taken to a concentration camp. You may get tortured. You may get beheaded. Okay, but it's all for Hamashiach Yahushai. And it says, because they have walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. So seek out the glory for people that are also Israelites. For unto you is paradise open. The tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. A city is builded, and rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. And that's what he's building up for us right now. The root of evil is sealed up from you, right? Weakness and the moth is hid from you. And the moth is somebody, and like they said, the moth basically is the destroyers. You know? Because what does the moth do? If you let a moth chill in your closet, it may take him 30 years, but he'll eat your whole damn closet. You know what I'm saying? So basically, the root of evil is taken away. You know, the things that eat away at your philosophies, the things that eat away at your spirit, eat away at your finances, whatever the case is, it's hid from you. And it continues. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. So corruption is fled into the grave. You know what I'm saying? So the corruption is where the corruption lays at, aka where all the heathens are. Right? Because when you're holy, you're separate. So you don't even know what's going on over there. You know, because hell isn't a place; it's a state of being. Verse 54: sorrows are past, and in the end, it is showed the treasure of immortality. Right. So the sorrows are gonna pass. We realize we'll never be hungry again. We'll never thirst again. You know what I'm saying? We'll be immortal. Verse 55: and therefore ask thou no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. So he said, don't ask about the 2/3. The 2/3 are going to die. Get over it. That's essentially what's being said here. No more question concerning the multitude of them that perish. So he's telling you, don't ask any questions. Don't ask why kids get cancer. Do not ask why this woman had a miscarriage. Don't ask why this sweet, innocent Israelite girl got hit by a bus. Don't ask this or that. Understand that this is the Most High's doing. You know, and ultimately he ordained it. If a child goes outside and gets hit by a bus, ultimately the Most High ordained that. You know, ultimately, you know, whether she did something in her past life, we don't know. But question not the Most High. That's what he's saying. And I'm going to go to 60. I'm at 56. I'm going to go to 60 and then I'll stop because that's the end of the page. For when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High. Thought scorn of his law and forsook his ways, right? Much like they do now. And it says, moreover, they have trodden down his righteous. And who are his righteous? The hopeful elect. And they're trodden us down by saying that our breakdowns aren't right, saying that the apostles aren't correct. When ultimately the apostles at Great Millstone are some of the most well-learned people on the planet. But they still trodden us down. They still call us all sorts of shit. You know what I'm saying? All based on what? You know, it's because we're the righteous. And it says, it said in their heart that there is no God. Yea, in that knowing they must die. You know? And they already know they're finna die. And they're saying in their heart that there is no God. That's what the fuck is wrong with most of these people, man. Just like how at the beginning of this video, I said that they didn't want God to be put on the money. You know? This is verse 59. For as the things aforesaid shall receive you, and those things that are aforesaid, those are those prophecies and those promises. It says, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. For it was not his will that men should come to naught. So the Lord didn't make man to destroy us. You know? It says, but they which be created have defiled the name of him that made them. Right? And were unthankful unto him, which prepared life for them, right? Those of you 2/3 Negroes talk about God don't care about us because we live in the hood. God don't care about me because he killed my baby. All you boneheaded ass niggas that didn't realize that this was part of the plan, right? Y'all are gonna be considered defiled, man. And this is the last verse 61. And therefore is my judgment now at hand. So this is why these things happen. You know, this is why the kids get cancer. This is why, you know, certain things happen, because the Lord's judgment is at hand. You know what I'm saying? Oh, there's actually 2 more verses, and that'll be the end of the chapter. This is verse 62. These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee, and a few like thee. So only a certain amount of us understand why these things happen. The hopeful elect is actually a very small number. And you learn that when you come into this truth. When you first come into this truth, man, shit, it feel like it's millions of Israelites, man. But come to find out, as you get farther and farther in this truth and you get the true breakdowns, you understand IUIC ain't shit, GOCC ain't shit, ISUPK ain't shit, all these other groups. You start to realize that the Lord is not bestowed upon them wisdom, you know? Not like Great Millstone amongst others, you know? Like the Light of Zion, you know, because you don't have to be Great Millstone to teach the words of Hamashiach Yahushua. There are lots of good groups out there, but most men are being tossed to the wayside. And that's what the Lord is saying. These things I have not showed unto all men. So he's not going to bless all of us with these understandings. This is verse 63 of Salakia. My nose is messing up. You know, I'm a little under the weather, so to speak. This is the last verse. Verse 63. Behold, O Lord, now hast thou showed me the multitude of the wonders. And what is the multitude of the wonders? The promises, understanding of the precepts, understanding of the prophecies, just everything that comes with this. The multitude of the wonders, because the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, is wonderful. And continuing, which thou wilt begin to do in the last times, but at what time thou hast not showed me. And that's what he said to Esdres. You see, and this is how you know that we're in the last times, because it said, which thou will begin to do in the last times. We're beginning to do these wonders. We're beginning to break down these precepts. We're beginning to bring our people towards their heritage, towards their nationality, towards the true understanding, towards understanding that they're kings and princesses and gods on this, and the men, Salakia, and the men are gods on this earth. In the living flesh, man. We are gods upon this earth. You know what I'm saying? In the end, right, it says, but at what time thou hast not showed me. And that's what makes the hopeful elect in the year 2018, that's what makes us so crucial. Because Esdras, he didn't know. Esdras didn't know the time. Esdras didn't know the times that we know. We are in the last times. And the Most High showed Esdras a lot of things, but he didn't show Esdras what he's showing us, the hopeful elect now. That's why it talks about how I believe in the Apocrypha, it talks about how the prophets of old, they're gonna marvel. They're gonna marvel at the fact that somebody understood what they were writing down. Because a lot of times these prophets, they didn't understand what they were writing. They would just write things and they didn't know what the Lord was showing them. That's why they wouldn't talk. Some of them would go off into the wilderness, be missing for days. Their friends would have to go looking for them. Family would have to go looking for them because they would come into understanding and they didn't know what the fuck they saw. So they couldn't even speak. I can't remember who the prophet was, but he saw so much shit. He had to go sit down somewhere. He couldn't even talk, because of what the Lord has showed him. And the Lord is revealing his, and I'm going to put this apocrypha up, but the Lord is revealing his majesties onto us, man. He's revealing all sorts of things onto us. So what we have to do is we have to move closer and closer. We have to seek his face. Call out to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Fast. Celebrate your high holy days. If you have a woman, keep her in order. If you have multiple women, keep your women in order. Keep them righteous. You know what I mean? And that's hard to do in this society. You know what I'm saying? Because who the people who Esdres wrote about are here on the earth today. They are here on the earth today. You know what I'm saying? And if you're the hopeful elect, you believe that not only were you a righteous man today, but you were a righteous man in that time too. And that's ultimately what you pray for. You not only do you pray that the Spirit stays on you now, you have to pray that the Spirit was on you back then. You have to pray for your past. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Salutations at the water to the elders at Great Millstone who taught this truth. And ultimately, all praise goes to the Most High for giving a certain number of men that complete level of understanding. So with that, I just want to say shalom.